All right, we are ready to go and talk
We're
about all
back.
the things
Let's go.
week one related with us. So, Code with me. We were trying to have Cam Hoon with us, but was unavailable as the reigning champion. So, we'll maybe look to add him next week. And then, just like last year, have somebody different each week. Um, I don't really know how
Yeah.
we'll pick who does which week. Did we just, I guess, what did we do last year? Did we just wing it and just said, hey, who can do it this
Yeah.
week?
Last year we pretty much were like, hey, who wants in? And then I think as people started to volunteer, people like got
Yeah.
the kind of the memo.
Yeah, then
Who
it just
didn't
turned
do
into,
video?
oh, you're gonna be
I mean,
that
people
guy.
that so
Morgan didn't do
Booty,
video,
Morgan and Booty didn't do
and
video.
Watson's, yeah, they didn't do video.
Yeah. So
Yeah, which is
we
fine.
keep receipts here. We keep receipts.
Yeah, we keep receipts.
uh,
But yeah, it's always fun talking to people. So I'm glad we got to interview almost everybody throughout the off season, and we'll continue that trend where we have a different person every time. So for those of you that weren't with us last year, so the two of you, right, two that weren't with us last year, we'll do this each week in preparation for the games, and we'll talk about a couple different things. We'll talk about what happened last week. We'll talk about what
yeah.
is happening this week. Talk about the playoff picture after a few games in the season. Doesn't make sense to talk about it after the first week or second week, but talk about it after a few weeks. Um, what else did we talk about? I could pull it up. But then there's one other
Sometimes if it's
thing.
for the moment, I mean, we'll like cover like poaching sometimes.
Yeah, I feel like there's something else. Let me see. I can pull it up right here. Um, we did a mock. So upcoming week, last week, playoff picture standings. We did a lot of buy or sell. The good old days of
Oh
buy.
yeah,
Do
we
you
did
agree with this or
fire
disagree
sale.
with this? The random mock draft, trade deadline ideas, trade deadline stream. So, but really happy to be back. Um, So we'll click some buttons. There's the standings. That doesn't matter obviously for this week. Everybody hanging out at 0-0.
Yeah.
Kept the division colors, the winning team from last year's name. So those of you that won your divisions last year still at the top, and the team division color is still in your name. But that Russell, Leaf, and Smith will change with the division leader. A little fun fact that I think will be really cool in 2 years is when we do the realignment. So, for those of you that don't know the rule book like the back of your hands because you didn't write it, which is all of you, except for maybe Rick,
True.
um, when the divisions realign, the three best teams with the best record over the last 3 years are split into their own division, and the three worst teams by record are split into different divisions as well. But the team that is like the best in their division gets to pick the name of the division, like anything they want.
Oh jeez.
Um,
Okay.
so I don't know what's going to happen, but I like Jamarcus Russell, Ryan Leaf, and Achilles Smith. I love it, but it's going to change in 2 years. We'll see how that goes. But for now, obviously, everybody's 0-0. And with the league median each week, we'll see these numbers start to climb more rapidly than we did last year. So, 2 games a week, one against your opponent and one against the league median. Um, let's talk about this upcoming week. 7 of you voted in the poll for who you thought was going to win the games, and here they are. Featured matchup again, Brownout against the Inaugurals. It was voted for Brownout to win that one. Implications against Liquidators. The implications win their vote. Kung Fu Pandas and Win Like Flynn. Kung Fu Pandas wins that vote. Diamond Dogs takes the edge over the Seawards. And then Justin's Deli over the Webster Tigers and Rutro Raggy over Dan Flashes. Two of the more controversial, polarizing teams. And I feel like everybody was ragging on, no offense, no pun intended. Everybody was ragging on Rutro
Raggy.
Raggy, but they still came out ahead in the poll, which is interesting. Any of these surprise you, or is this kind of how you voted, or where were you at, Code?
I think the one thing that I might have thought was different was for the Tigers over the Delhi as like one of the upsets of the week, because that would have actually been like a legit upset. But then Christian Watson's out, and
Yeah.
now the Packers don't have anyone to throw to other than rookies. So um, no, I think this is kind of what we'd expect. Definitely had Brown out beating inaugurals, implications beating liquidators. I will admit that I'm kind of like not like sweating with my matchup, but like the temperature's kind of hot. Like
Yeah.
I see like the projected 136 to like 106, and I just see it as like 0-0. Like I don't know. I maybe it's just me being self critical, but
It's still
I think
scary, though.
everything else kind of follow. Yeah, everything else kind of follows suit. Dan just kind of had like one of those things where he was at the top of the world, and then it just kind of all came crashing down the minute like Taylor happened, and then Cup
Cup.
happened, and now Cup might have like nerve damage in his hamstring, which is even worse. And then it's just like all the things
Thing
are
after
just
thing.
kind of crumbling. So yeah, I mean Raggy at least still has a couple of star-studded receivers.
Yeah,
That's
Higgins, Diggs,
yeah.
a couple other. There's one more big. He has Juju, who's not a big name anymore, but Higgins, Diggs, Juju, Van Jefferson. And while Van Jefferson's not the guy, maybe he is for Cup to be out. He also has Higbee, so Higbee's probably the other main target for Stafford. So does have some names there. For the record, the votes 5-2 for Brown out to win. I agree. I think 5-2 is a good split. I would say 5-3 would be better if more people had voted. I think it's like a 60-40 to Brown out, so 5-2 is okay. Implications versus Liquidators, 6 for the Implications, 1 for the Liquidators. Nice try, Chase. Kung Fu Pandas versus Win Like Flynn, 7-0 for the Kung Fu Pandas to win that one. Diamond Dogs against the C Words was also split 5-2 for Diamond Dogs. Justin's Deli against Webster Tigers was very close. It was 4-3 for Webster Tigers. Rutro Raggy versus Dan Flash is also 4-3 in favor of Raggy. So, couple close votes, couple not so close votes, but only one 7-0, and that's Kung Fu Pandas over Win Like Flynn. So, interesting. Trash Talk. Implications win by 50. Go Tigers. Rutro Dan Flashes, and Implications rebuild starts on week 2. We'll see. I thought I'd win by 50. That was my own trash talk until the receivers dropped the balls and Kelsey's out and Waller's hurt, and so I don't know. But I think that win is fairly free.
At least Waller has until Sunday night.
Yeah,
you get a little more leeway there.
Yeah, but that also sucks because then he's sitting. Does he actually play? Does he not play? Maybe I put the waiver request in for 3 different shit tight ends. Maybe I go pick up who plays on Monday night. Maybe I pick up the Giants' backup tight end. Oh no, I can't. It's Bellinger, and the C Words have him.
I thought Morgan had him. Well, Morgan used to have him.
Does Morgan have him? Maybe Morgan does have him now. I know it's one of those two has him. The two of them are better looking at develop. Yeah, I think it is Morgan. You're right. I can't even go. I traded him to him last year. So, who plays Monday night? Maybe I pick up a tight end from whoever plays Monday. I don't know. But anyway, so that's our week 1 games. So generally, again, we talk about what happened last week and stuff. We don't really have anything to go over there. So instead, we're going to do bold predictions. We asked you guys to also submit bold predictions, but you guys suck. For this week, the only bold prediction came in from Morgan and his. Oh no, there's a third one. Oh, okay, I won't even look at it. Well, I'll look at it now. The third one was the first one was from Morgan, who misunderstood the assignment because I didn't explain it. So that's my fault. Failure on leadership. Oh no, it's yours, Code. So yeah, so nobody followed the instructions. Yeah. No, it's not. Oh, okay. Hold on. Sorry. So Packers win the North. That was the first one that came through, and that was from the Tigers. So again, before the instructions were clearly explained. Second one was yours, which we'll talk about in a minute. The last one is the Webster Tigers win the Jamarcus Russell division. Rashad White loses starting job to Sean Tucker, and Codes is forced to play Rico Dowdle at one point in time by an anonymous source.
Look, if he catches 3 balls for 20 yards and falls in the end zone, I'm happy.
Yeah, that's all you need sometimes, right?
But that's an interesting take though, because Sean Tucker was like lauded as like a third, fourth round.
Yeah, went undrafted. Yeah,
and then he went undrafted because of medical issues, and now he's RB2 in Tampa. I mean, I don't know. I think he could have like a decent role there. I still tend to think Rashad White's the lead
guy.
Though.
Yeah, I do as well. So we'll see. But so Code and I each came up with 3, not controversial but bold opinions that. If one, is this fair to say? So, it's not when we say hot, it's a hot take. How realistically, how many of yours do you expect to be right out of the 3 you put in? Like 1, you're just like, yeah, I can see a world where these happen, but I don't think it happens, kind of thing.
If I had a line of 1.5, I'd say over, but like I wouldn't expect all 3 to be right.
Yeah, I feel like
where I'm at with mine.
Yeah, okay, fair. Yeah, I think there's a chance that they happen, but I I also wouldn't be shocked if they didn't happen, right? It's like almost.
Yeah.
So it's like if I hit one of these, I'll be happy. Is the way I kind of look at it.
Yeah.
So you're up first. You ready?
Yeah. Let's go.
Let's hurt some feelings. All right, go ahead, Code. Take it away.
All right. So I'm waiting for this to load, but yeah, I have the Achilles Smith division having more total points for than the Jamarcus Russell division at the end of the season. And the reasoning behind that is because I think that the C words and liquidators are actually closer to the bottom tier teams in the Jamarcus Russell division than people want to think and give them credit for. And then also like we have the implications in our division, and then I don't think my team is as much of a slouch either. Uh, but I think this is a fun one because I was trying to think of something that's kind of hot takey, and this is somewhat hot takey just because everyone's kind of like, oh well, Rick's team is in the shitter, and then Chase is fully liquidating, but they still have to submit lineups. They're still going to have points
Right.
scored. So I thought this would be a kind of a fun one to have like some like division pride for our guys. So
And not only that, but Rick's team isn't bad by any
oh
means.
yeah, I mean like I said, I'm not like sweating my matchup this week, but if it's down to the wire because Mike Evans scores a 40-yard touchdown or something, I'm gonna be like okay, I'm gonna be like rocking in my chair like all right.
Oh no, here we go. If you look at the lineup, so Matt Stafford, Aaron Jones, DeAndre Swift, Debo Samuel, Mike Evans, Darnell Mooney, Dawson Knox, Curtis Samuel, Robert Woods, I think currently Wilson from the Cardinals, but it could be a couple other different pieces as well. I don't think those are all terrible bets. You just have to hope that a couple go the right way, right? Jones holds off Dylan, Swift holds off Penny, Debo does Debo things, Mike Evans still catches touchdowns. That's what he does. So it could be interesting. All right, let's move on to my first hot take. Win like Flynn is going to have an identical start to his season that he did last year, starting the division 3-0 and being the first team to sell out. I just think that division's too good, and like it sucks because Flynn has built a good team, but I don't see him beating any of those three with Brownout, Kung Fu Pandas, and the inaugurals. Again, any other division he's fine, but not many teams can survive that division, and I don't think he does. So
yeah, I like the way he's building. I mean, he has two firsts this coming off season, and then he also got Zoink's first in 2025 as well.
Yeah.
Drafted JSN with his first, and he also has Tank Bigsby, and he's starting like a little like QB horde of some sorts. Like I'm not like, I mean Derek Carr. I'm like, I guess I'm a Carr truther. I'll say it.
Same.
But he's Daniel Jones and Dak Prescott, Derek Carr, and then some backups. But like, I mean, you never know. One injury, and then suddenly these quarterbacks are worth something. That's kind of like my philosophy too. Is like that like I'm rostering 5 backup quarterbacks. I'm not like proud of that, but you never really know with the way the season is. I mean, we didn't think Kelsey was going to be injured week 1, and here we are. So
the only concern I have with his team is his cap situation, but he does have a good, long built, sustainable core. Daniel Jones, still the best quarterback contract in the league. Nothing close, in my opinion. Jackson Smith and Jigba, Will Levis, Tank Bigsby, Kendre Miller, Kyle Pitts, Najee Harris, Dak Prescott, Jerry Jeudy, Hollywood Brown, all on 3 or more year contracts. Got a really, really good young core, but it becomes an issue with money potentially later on. But we'll see. But that'll do it. Let's move on to the next one. You ready, Code? Your second opinion here. Go for it.
So yeah, this one is really hot takey, because of the division of death. But I think that Brownout sweeps all 6 of their division games this year, and I think he's gonna hate me for saying that because he's always like, "You're gonna jinx me with this take." But I just look at his lineup and I'm just like, I mean, I know that the inaugurals have really good receivers. I know Pandas has good quarterbacks and running backs, but I just look at Brownout's lineup and I'm just like, my goodness, like if everything like pans right for them, like who's really beating them this year other than like the implications? I think that's obviously like the Eagles Chiefs kind of matchup.
Right.
But I don't know. I have a feeling about Brownout's team this year. I know last year he had like a lot of really like high weeks and really low weeks, but I think this year will be a lot more consistent.
And not only that, his bench is just so good with Tua, Roshan Johnson, who I think takes over one day,
Yeah,
Chris Godwin, John Dotson, Alec Pierce, Jamison Williams, Quentin Johnson, Njoku, Michael
yeah.
Mayer. Like he's got it. His bench is a starting team for
If
somebody else.
oh yeah, if yeah, like seriously, like he's got Jahan Dotson on the bench. Jahan Dotson would be my wide receiver 2 right now if I had
Yeah,
him. And like he's literally on his bench, like he's begging for playing time.
yeah. Moving on to the second one for me. I forget which one this is. The C words, they come out strong and end up being able to decide between competing in the extra pick bracket or
Wow.
start losing to compete and possibly win the toilet bowl bracket. I think it's a really cool question and a discussion on which one do you want to end up in, right? Because if the difference between 101 and 105 is insane, but 105 and 113 if you really need pieces, or 101, which one, right? Because you could add a little bit of something, I think a little bit of juice to 105 and 113 to get to 101. If you have gaping holes that you want 105. So anyway, I think the C words will come out and play better than most people expect. I don't think they're going to be 6-0. I think that they will be right in the middle of the pack. And when we look at the playoff bracket picture, on the edge of a wild card spot, on the edge of falling into the toilet bowl bracket, on the edge of winning the extra pick bracket. And so they'll be able to choose, do I want to buy at the trade deadline and push for something here, or do I want to sell at the trade deadline? This way I can kind of make sure I'm in the toilet bowl where I should win. That's kind of what I'm expecting from the C words. Because again, that extra pick bracket, the bottom 4 teams are in that and then are fighting each other in the round robin to try to get 101. So being a complete sellout hurts you in the end.
Right.
So it's just interesting because I think that your point earlier, the C words have a better team than I think people expect. And so I wouldn't be surprised to see them kind of, again, choose their pathway, right?
Yeah, I mean, and the beautiful thing about this league specifically, and this is kind of like my mentality going into the off season and like through my off season planning, was that in this league you're always competing, whether it's competing for the championship, competing for the extra pick, or competing for the toilet bowl.
Yeah.
You're always trying to win something, because yeah, like you said, if you end up, I mean, like for example, I control my own destiny. So if I win the extra pick bracket and I have like the 106 and the 113, that's still 2 first round rookies. Sure, I would probably prefer to have a higher pick in the toilet bowl if that is
Right.
the case. But yeah, it's like you never want to be the team that's like, oh, I'm tanking all year. Then you get to the toilet bowl, and then you're like, well, now I can't win the toilet bowl, and then I end up at the 104.
Yeah, literally me
What
last year.
What was the point of tanking everything? Yeah. Was
Right.
it you or was it Morgan? I thought
Morgan got 104, but I fucking tried harder than I ever have in my life to win that thing and came in third. So
to win the
Yeah.
Well, and at that point in time, it's like week 16, week 17 of the season. It's a shit show anyway. So yeah.
Good one. All right, your last hot take. Go for it.
Last hot take. This one is going to be the trade deadline will be completely bonkers again. And then I have the Kung Fu Pandas and Justin's Deli being the biggest sellers at the deadline.
This is where it gets weird for me, not to completely cut you off, but I was like, yeah, big deal. The trade line deadline is going to be bonkers. It was last year. And then I was like, oh, the Pandas and the Deli are selling. So where's your head coming from with that?
So I do think they're still like firmly like entrenched as contenders this season, but looking at their cap situations next year, I believe the Pandas have like $1, so they're not going to be able to re-sign anybody, and maybe they don't need to. But I know that when we were negotiating a while back for the Rachaad White deal, he was mentioning he said the word surplus, as in he had like a lot of running backs, and I'm just maybe at the trade deadline he's looking at things, looking at his playoff trajectory or whatever, and is like, I don't really think I can beat the implications in the playoffs. Let me see if I can get value for one of these guys before or after the deadline passes. And then the Deli, I just think, like, I love the roster, but it is pretty top heavy, and he's got 3 running backs on that team. And sure, you can just grab anybody up off the waiver wire, but when I'm the guy rostering Rico Dowdle, who's really out there to pick up when you need a running back start? So, and then also I think Deli are like $60 in the red.
97.
So
that's with their picks. So if you go look at each individual team on their individual page, the bottom shows you their actual cap number. If you look at the breakdown, that first tab, it takes into account what rookie picks they have and if they hold and make those picks. So you're right. Kung Fu Pandas has $1 for 2024. If they keep and make their selections in this, they have 2 third-round selections. They'll be -13. Justin's Deli currently is -$60, as you said. But if they hold and make their first and second round pick, they'll be -97.
Yeah, and that's
So it's scary. $97 is a lot to be in dead cap, says me, 103.
yeah. Well, I mean, Raggy was in such a tight spot, and then he cut Trey Lance, and all of a sudden his like
Money. Yeah.
the blinds opened and the sun is out, and it's like, oh, okay, like there's life again.
Yeah.
So yeah, this one is like pretty controversial because it is kind of a hot take because it's like, yeah, if you're contending, why would you try to sell? But I think in this league, the cap ramifications are just. I think people are sleeping on that. I think everyone needs to like double check. Like Cam Hoon has that spreadsheet that he made. Like everyone
Justin
needs to have a
Sally too.
roadmap. Everyone needs to have a roadmap, a spreadsheet, and I'm sure these guys do. I'm just busting balls.
Yeah. No, it definitely is going to get scary as we go further along. Especially because if we do restructuring, it won't be. Yeah, it won't be. We can't put that right into effect because of the shit that I've done. Sorry, I ruined it for everybody. But it wouldn't be fair if I could just restructure Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes. It just wouldn't be. So, but yeah, I mean, Raggy made the trade and cut Trey Lance and 500 plus in 2025, which is third most. So lots of money in his pockets for sure, even with the dead cap.
Yeah, and real quick about with Raggy, like I know that like that pick, I think it was Dan Flash's first. Like that is looking like a prime rib steak on a plate.
Well, he just sent it, right? Who did he send it? Who did he send that to?
He sent that to Rick because
he
got rid of Mike Evans' contract. And the thing is, it's like, wow, yeah, that really sucks to lose that premium asset. But he got off of Mike Evans' contract, and as it stands right now, I don't know if he's getting a deal with the Bucks. And like he's turning 31 next year, and he's at like 190 something on his deal.
Yeah.
Like in 2024, we're looking at that Mike Evans contract, and we're just like, geez, like who came up with this behemoth?
Yeah. So, literally.
I think like Raggy's made some interesting moves. He got Jaylen Warren off of me, which is a miracle because I was not wanting to sell Jaylen Warren at all. But I was just like, you know what? Like I felt like I had to liquidate that because of like the guys on my bench. So I don't know. I like what Raggy's done, and I think he's been the first to proactively like consider the cap. But at the end of the day, as well though, like what good is having like $194 a fab when you're grabbing like I don't even know who the best guy on the waiver wire is right now.
Nobody.
It's Josh Reynolds. Yeah, it's Josh Reynolds. Like what good is having $194? I don't know. It's
well to roll it over. But also, how dare you to say he's the first person to consider the cap when I've traded and gained $197 extra of cap room this year alone.
Okay, well, yeah, I mean you're still negative.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
You've still got a little more work to do. But
yeah, I know you're telling me.
You're in the upward swing as well.
I have $3 in cap room. I'm trying to spend it all on some shit tight ends. All right, let's talk about my last hot take. Here it is. Dan Flash's struggles in the regular season, but they managed to win a playoff bracket game, and his trade makes sense to the haters. I swear to God, I have never defended a trade for anybody else as part of my life. I've never defended a trade until I joined that other league and got roasted for the Mahomes deal. But I still stand by this trade. The A.J. Brown trade was exactly what Dan needed due to his cap situation and his roster construction. Go ahead and hate
Keenan and Amari, right?
Keenan and Amari Cooper and whatever the hell else happened. Was it MVS? I mean, yeah, it was a bunch of cases. Jake Ferguson. I swear, I do actually. I swear I will stand by that trade. Here it is. Keenan Allen, Amari Cooper, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Zach Moss, and Jake Ferguson for Waller and Brown. I stand by it. I'm not saying it was a good deal. Now that I'm on my soapbox platform, I'm not saying it was a good deal. I win that trade, but Dan needed it. That's why you don't paint yourself into that corner and sell all your assets and do nothing and then have no depth. I understand that, which is going to be my issue soon. But in that circumstance, that is exactly the trade he needed to make, and I think it will help him. Genuinely. So, yes, that's what I think. I think he makes the playoffs. I think he wins a playoff game. It might be the 5th place game, but I think he makes the playoffs, wins a playoff game, and then at some point in time, one of you haters will come around and say, I understand now. Like, I get it. And you could say it sooner. You could say it sooner because of Zach Moss and Cooper Kupp right now that He had to do something. He doesn't have his picks. He has nothing else. So he had to do it. That's
Well,
the
and
end of my
think of it
tangent.
think of it this way: Waller is questionable with a hamstring right now. Had he kept Waller, like
Same situation.
who's he
Even
running out
worse.
at tight end?
Nobody.
He's running out Taysom Hill.
God
I mean,
forbid.
man, you're
Yeah.
yeah, you are really begging. I know that the Saints like to use him in different packages, but it's like, man, you are really hoping for something there.
Did you see he's listed as a quarterback on the Saints depth chart?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, they need to give him back. They need to give him back the QB. Remember that one, or like, was it 2 years ago when Cordero Patterson was like a wide receiver?
Wide receiver, running back, and you could put him wherever you
Put
wanted.
him in both. Oh, dude, that was amazing.
Yeah. It was wild.
That was really fun. No, I like this take.
Thank you.
I mean,
It's a good take.
The reality is, yeah, it's a good take because I think that they probably dropped the first 3 games. It's the reality of the situation. You lose Taylor, you lose Cup. I mean, heck, like any team that loses some of their star players are gonna have to go through those struggles. But I mean,
Who does he play week
Taylor
1?
comes back week 5.
Yeah, plays Raggy week 1. That's a
Week
big
1 is
game.
Raggy, yeah.
God, such a big
and
game.
that's the thing. It sucks for Dan because he's getting all these injuries and problems like in the divisional splits, and it's like we know how important these divisional games are from last year.
Yeah.
You have the first 3 in the beginning of the season, and the next 3 is it like weeks 13, 14, 15, or is it?
Yeah, so it's weeks 1, 2, and 3 are division opponents, and then your next 8 games are against random everybody else in the league once, and then 12, 13, 14 is your division again.
Yeah, and these are like they're big games too because the first 3 weeks, they don't have buys to deal with, and I think one of the knocks to Dan's roster was that it was another one of those top-heavy rosters where he doesn't have a whole lot of depth, and who's he going to be trying out on bye weeks? I know Cam Hoon was screenshotting the thumbs down and doing that, but no, I think this is a good take because I do think that Dan's team will start to ramp up because all it takes is getting Taylor back. If Taylor comes back, all of a sudden he's got an RB1.
Yep.
Like maybe Cooper Kupp gets healthy. I mean, he's got Keenan Allen, Amari Cooper. Maybe Jake Ferguson breaks out. I don't know. There's ways around his situation. It just
there's more ways.
He's in the trench.
Yeah, there's more ways that it now than there were before he did that trade, and that's kind of what I'm saying. And then not only that, Zach Moss should be able to take over for JT if JT's not here. I think Zach Moss is back for week 1. Personally, we'll see. But everybody's talking about Deion Jackson and Evan Hull, and I don't see it. So that does it for us. Super quickly, for those of you that are new to the league or newer to the league, what happened to my thing? Let's pull up. I don't know what happened to the. I had it even. Yeah, the poaching form was right here and everything. Here.
So while he's looking for that, poaching is gonna lock Sunday. So your taxi squad rosters, you're gonna make sure that you have the guys that you want on that taxi squad because that'll lock Sunday. You'll be able to promote people or demote people until after the poaching period ends.
Found it. So for those of you that weren't here last year, the way that poaching works, anybody that is on your taxi squad. So if I go to my team and I look at my taxi squad, the 5 players on my taxi squad are eligible to be poached and taken to your team if you wanted any of them for some reason. Okay. So what you'll do is after week 1, after the games begin Sunday, I'm going to try to. Code was really good about reminding me to get this out. I'm going to try to get these out as early as I can. It might even come out Sunday afternoon or Monday. But you have a couple days. What is it? Wednesday? I think it was like Wednesday. It's 24 hours or something like that. The idea is that it should be done in case of Thursday night games.
What you did was, you gave the forms out Tuesday, and then you told people that they had until like Wednesday at like 1 a.m., which is like the same time the waiver period ran or something. I think that's what we did.
I'm pulling it up right now, but I know it was basically to make sure that everything got done in time for games on Thursday night. But you'll basically go ahead and we'll figure it out. You basically go ahead and log in and fill this form out. You say which team's yours. Let me make it this way. This way it's a little bit prettier. It's what you guys will actually see.
Let's run an example. Let's do an example.
So which team is yours? I am the implications.
Yeah.
Which player am I going to poach? Do you have anybody worth considering to take on your team?
Just grab Quez. Say Quez, for example. Say you want Quez because he's an Eagle.
I fucking hate the desktop app.
Oh, I know.
Okay, so we know Quez Watkins is on Code's thing. So Quez Watkins. And then if the poach is successful, who are you dropping? This way, it's automatically done because I'll have to move players around and shit. So if this actually goes through, I have an open spot on my roster, so I don't have to drop anybody. So I can type that in, and then you have to make sure that you are aware of the rules around poaching. So the player's salary will increase by to $13 or double, whichever is more. They cannot be moved to taxi ever again. They can be cut from your team, but it's going to come with heavier penalties outlined in the rulebook. And they can be protected by the original team, and their contract can be extended. You can also extend them to a 1-year contract extension if you get to poach them. No matter if they're on a 4-year deal, you can make it a 5-year. No matter if they're on a 1-year deal, you can make it a 2-year, whatever it is. And then you'll submit it. Any team that has their players attacked or targeted will then get a notification from me that this player was targeted. You won't know who it came from. You'll choose if you want to protect them and pay them more money and move them to your active roster, or if you want to let them go and they'll go to the other team. If they go to the other team can extend them for 1 year if you want to. If you hold on to them, you can extend them for 1 year if you want to. You don't have to, but that is how it works. And this will happen every single week. Taxi squads will lock at the start of the games on Sunday, where you can't move anybody around. They will unlock after games on Monday, where you can move people around again. And they will continue to do that throughout the year. On December 1st, with our trade deadline, the taxi squads will lock permanently. You can pull people up. You can't move anybody back. And that will be, I think, 2 weeks where people can try to steal, where you can't do anything about it, basically. And you can't move someone off your taxi squad. They're getting yoinked, or you're letting them go. So that's how it works.
The positive to keeping 5 on the taxi, though, is that at the end of the year, their contracts renew.
Yep.
So you could have
for no additional cost.
Guy.
Yeah.
Right. But you have to hope that they endure that 2-week playoff period without getting poached. So
yeah, that's how it works.
Definitely a lot of elements of strategy.
Yeah. So Jake Ferguson's one of those players where he was on my taxi squad and rolled over for $1. And held on to him. Same with Justin Ross. So and those had value, but there's also a lot of people who rolled over that don't have value. So if you have any questions about poaching, let us know. That's all I got, Code. Any final thoughts?
Final thoughts. I'm just so excited that this is back. I love this league so much. This is I know it's your pride and joy, but it's also my pride and joy.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun.
Such a great group of guys, and we do a lot of cool stuff. So.
Yeah,
it's fun.
Really looking forward to get it rolling. Thanks, guys, for watching, and we'll be back next week, probably with Cam Hun. That's the aim. He also has some spoiler alert. He has some off-season grades for every team that he wants to go over. We were going to try to do that early, but it didn't happen. So we'll do that with him next week, as well as recap the week, and then keep going from there. So thank you, guys. Have a good night. Good luck in week 1 to everybody. I can say it to everybody because Chase's team is so boring, it doesn't matter. So, I'm kidding, Chase. I'm sorry. It's only be like this for this week and the last week of the season. All right. Have a good night, guys. See you soon.